All right, time for the week that was. Melanie Wilkinson joins us here in studio. Melanie,
Hi.
how are we doing today?
We're good. We're on the verge of May.
That's right. Almost May Day, 5th month of the year. But 2025 is already breezing by. It's like, didn't we just start the new year?
We did, and now
January
it's
1st?
almost half over already.
goodness.
I know.
My goodness.
Your hair's turning white as I watch.
Yep, that's how it works.
I'm going to watch you gray gradually, but
that's right.
you can join the rest of us someday.
But, hey, the weather's turning nicer, too. It's been some good weather days here in York, and I know a lot of events are happening. What's been going on here with you this week?
There's been, well, like you said, there's a lot of things going on, especially because it's after, it's the end of the school year. So every 5 seconds, there's a banquet of something or an awards thing for something. I wanted to bring up something really exciting that was announced. This is actually going to happen in a month, and it's very special for York. So for the last 30 years, the Nebraska Rod and Custom Association Tour takes place in Nebraska. So they have typically, it's about 300 car enthusiasts bring out their custom vintage restored vehicles.
A lot of variety with those, too.
A lot of variety,
yeah.
and they go on these driving tours in different parts of the state. And York has played host before as like a lunch stop or a breakfast stop or whatever. What's special about this year's tour is that they're going to be centralizing themselves here in York, meaning that they're spending all the time here. Their hub is going to be at the convention center. This is going to be May 30th through June 1st. Now the organizer
3-day thing right there. Yeah.
So they'll come in on Friday night. They'll be in York Friday night. Then on Saturday, they leave early in the morning and they head south. And their schedule or southeast. Utica, Cordova, Plymouth, Beatrice, Tecumseh, Syracuse, Ashland, Ceresco, Wahoo, Seward, and then back to York. Then that night, on Saturday night, then they will have a big event out at the convention center. I'm assuming the public, the way I understood it, the public's going to be able to go out there. The cars will all be parked in the parking lot. It's a lot of cars. It's almost 500.
Yeah, 465. Yeah.
And so I don't know if they were still taking cars. I know they had a waiting list of what they think they can handle, but it sounds like it might be one of the biggest ones they've ever had. And then
it says too. Just to not to interrupt, but it says 11 hours. It took 11 hours for them to fill the registration.
Yes.
That's what you had from Kevin Euler, I believe.
Yes,
who's
he's the
club
president right now, and so it went really quick. I don't know. He also thinks maybe there'll be locals here that aren't signed up that might just show up. I don't know how that works. There's information on how they can contact him if they want to. And then on the second day, it says they're going to go through Stromsburg. I almost wanted to get a hold of him and let him know that there's some major construction going on through Stromsburg right now. So, and that might be rerouted. But then they'll go to Genoa, St. Edward, Albion, Petersburg, Elgin, Neely, Plainview, Pierce, Wayne, and Howells. So, and then that will conclude the event. But it's going to be a really neat thing for people to have the opportunity if they like cars and they're interested in that type of thing. You can probably just walk around through the parking lot on Friday night and Saturday night.
Yeah. I mean, this is the first time it's been here since 2017 too, or at least the event was anchored right.
Well,
with the main stage.
The way I remember 2017 though, it was more like just a stop.
Right.
Like they'll have different stops in different places. They weren't here that long.
Right. So now
this time they're going to actually just be here.
Yeah.
Granted, they're going to go out and drive. But then they're going to come back, so they'll be here for good chunks of time.
And, we're around county fairs in the summer where they have, smaller car shows in all these communities. And it does draw people. I mean, no matter the size of it, if there's, 20 cars sitting along a street line or something like that, it will draw people. This is going to be, I think, an incredible thing for people to see.
That's a lot of cars.
If you're a car enthusiast, I mean, you're going to be in heaven.
And even if you can't get, let's say, to the parking lot or whatever, when they take off in the morning, I think it's about 7:00, they're going to release them in groups of like 200 at a time. Can you imagine? I don't know what this is going to look like, but they're going to release.
The sounds are probably going to be incredible.
Well, yeah, they're going to release them. I suppose they'll stop traffic on South Lincoln, and then they'll let 200 of them go, and then they're going to wait a few minutes, I think 15 minutes to 30 minutes, and then they're going to release the other 200. So if you're
driving,
a
slow rumble
you
around
can just
town.
you could just go sit in a parking lot and watch them all drive by. It's going to be amazing.
Yeah. So that you can
that's
watch
something
out
to
for
look
that.
forward to. Yeah.
May 30th to June 1st.
Yes.
Right here in York,
Yes.
and they'll be working their way around the area here across the state. So awesome stuff. Also, Melanie, tell us about this 92-year-old woman who is traveling with her late husband's ashes around the country. Stopped her last trip here in York. Tell us about this story.
This is so wonderful.
Yeah.
Every once in a while, one of these stories falls in your lap, and you're so grateful that you were able to hear it firsthand. Well, it started where Todd Gardner, the caretaker at Greenwood Cemetery, got a hold of me and said that this lady, her name is Juanita Quick. She, her husband Gordon had passed away. They are 92. And they were natives of York County.
Not living in York, though?
Not
right,
now.
Right, okay.
No,
yeah, right.
No, back when they were, they met when they were 14 years old. And he was a son of a farmer here in York County. Fell in love. I love this story so much. So anyhow, and this was all told to me firsthand by Juanita. The reason Todd got a hold of me was because she was traveling here with his ashes, and she wanted to have an honor guard there because he was a veteran, but she was also concerned that nobody else was going to show up. And Todd didn't want her to be out there by herself with an honor guard. He thought that if other people knew, because they haven't lived here for 50 years or more,
longer,
right. Yeah. So
curious, do you know where they were from, or where they where she lives now, or
Las Vegas?
Okay, gotcha.
That's where their home base is.
Yep.
Because their life is so incredible. They did have a son, and he's alive, and he was also met with me, and he called his father Forrest Gump, and I'm going to explain what I mean by this, because it's so fascinating. So Gordon, he went into teaching after high school. He went to the University of Nebraska. He got his teaching certificate, and he first taught at the Benedict High School when it was open at the time, and eventually became principal. And she was also a teacher. And so while they were in Benedict, it was a long time ago, all the guys were coming back from World War II. Well, because everybody had been fighting in World War II, there was no more National Guard, because everybody had gone, and now everybody had served, and frankly, everybody was done with it, but they needed a National Guard. So when he was, I guess I kind of jumped a little bit. When he was 15, Gordon signed up for the National Guard, and they took him, which they probably shouldn't have. They had to wait till he was only 16, but he started. So he's teaching in Benedict. He becomes the principal. He's serving for the York National Guard. They moved on to David City, where he had another teaching job. He was still with the York National Guard. Then he was activated in 1961, which some people have said was the real start of the Vietnam War. And he was activated to duty. He went to Japan. He went to South Korea. He did some nuclear work that was very secretive, but important. He was asked to stay in the military full time, but he had a calling to go back to education. So he got his doctorate back at the University of Nebraska in Lincoln, and did a whole bunch of different work for the university. He eventually took a job for a place in Washington State, where it was a boarding high school, and he turned it into this technical college. Single-handedly created a college there where they taught people all kinds of different skills, and he liked to teach people, by working with their hands. He did that. He started another college for women because, he had nothing else to do. He built a house from scratch all by himself. And I have to say,
it's a real go-getter, right?
Oh, yeah. Like I asked Juanita what it was like living with someone who had so much drive all the time, and she said she just got used to it and followed him around. And boy, did she follow him around, because he got into the Rotary Club. And when I think Rotary Club, I don't think about Rotary International necessarily. He got really involved in the Rotary Club, and he decided that they were going to go around the world, and they were going to help build schools and teach people English. They went to Thailand, Vietnam, Russia, Latvia, Mexico, Guatemala, Jamaica, Haiti. They went to all these different places, and they helped physically build schools. They taught all these different people all these different skills. He was a master welder when he was in high school, and somehow he remembered how to do this. So he would teach people welding, and he'd teach them English, and she'd teach women how to care for their babies. And they were just constantly on the go. And the things that they did, and when they went to Russia, they didn't just go to Russia. They went to Siberia in the dead of winter 3 times on purpose.
Jeez.
And that's where they were when 9/11 happened. And they were stuck in Russia, and they were having a hard time getting out and coming back to the United States because of all the chaos and everything. Lived very frugally, very humbly. It's like she said, we weren't staying in 5-star hotels because, we're helping build a school. So we're living in a teepee or a tent or a hut or something right next to the construction site. It was a fantastic story. And anyway, he went on to be named one of the alumnus of the year for the University of Nebraska, which is a very prestigious thing. And he was given he was named International Rotarian of the Decade, I believe, at one point in the 1990s.
Okay, yep.
Their story is just amazing. And so meanwhile, they also lost their only grandson in Iraq. He was in the military. So I don't know. The story is fascinating. It's long. I tell people, I know it's a really long story, but just try to go all the way to the end.
Right.
Because you have to just
hear this story. It's incredible.
And so she went back to Washington State for a memorial service where after he passed away, and here she is. She's 92 years old, and she's just grief stricken because she misses him, and she looked at me with her emerald green eyes, and she said, I can't let him go, but I had to come back to York County. So she went all these different places, and they had all these different memorial services because they had homes all over this world.
Right.
And then this was her last mission, was to come back to York County. And she hadn't been here in many, many years. And so Todd arranged for the honor guard to come, and there were people that did come.
Yeah.
And so she wasn't alone. It just makes me almost want to cry. She wasn't alone Saturday afternoon at Greenwood Cemetery.
Yeah, that's incredible.
I know.
What a story. And how long did you sit with her or her son? Because this sounds like you got the entire
2 hours and 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Oh, there's so much more story. I mean, I could have. They need to write a book. They really do. And it was painful to try and get it to a manageable size where people wouldn't just give up and quit reading. Yeah. But we were together for quite a while, and what a wonderful lady.
Well, that's awesome.
Yeah.
You can see that story on your website, just melaniew.com.
Yes.
I'm trying to find when was that posted? Do you know?
Would have been last Friday, I think. Okay. Or last Thursday.
Just trying to check it. Yeah, okay. But anyway, you can head there.
It was last Thursday.
Scroll through all the articles there on that website and find that. That's awesome.
Yeah.
What a story. Anything else happening, Melanie, around, I know some county commissioners meetings and stuff like that?
Boy, I'm just stuck on the cemeteries today. I apologize, but this is cool. So the county is responsible for caring financially for 2 abandoned pioneer cemeteries, which means they were there's like certain criteria, but mostly they were created back when the pioneers were moving.
1800s. Yeah.
And then no one cared for the cemetery any longer. They don't belong to a church. They don't belong to an entity. They were created. The people were buried there. People moved on, but the cemeteries exist. And so the state calls for then the counties to declare them abandoned. And then they just simply have to pay people. They have to pay someone up to $1,000 a year just to make sure that they're mowed twice a year before Labor Day and Memorial Day. Now there are is the one Zion Cemetery is over by Arborville. Yep. Oh, wow. What an amazing place. You can't even see it from the road. It's deep inside of the quarter.
Is that this picture right here on the...
that one's the Cashler. Okay, well, I'll start with Cashler then. Cashler is, when you're driving down Interstate 80, on the north side of the road, right at the Seward County line, if you look over, you can see there's a little cemetery over there, and you can only get to it through a minimum maintenance road. It's an amazing place. Jen Higginbotham has been taking care of it for a number of years. When you get out there, I've been out there a couple of times. The graves are mostly children for those of children who it looks like they must have had wagon trains coming through, and they all must have been sick about the same time of whatever they had gone through their bunch.
I played the Oregon Trail video game, from the there's a lot of different diseases. I know that
there
people
are. Oh my gosh!
I mean to make a joke, but you know what I mean.
It's really
diphtheria and hypothermia,
all kinds of stuff, and it's so sad. And so you can see, and every time I've been out there, I think, back there was a day where these parents had to bury their children, and then they had to move on.
Yep.
They moved on, and but what's really intriguing, and you'll see this at the other cemetery too, these gravestones are very old, obviously 150 years or whatever. But even though they were traveling pioneers, somehow they found a way to make gravestones that are beautiful and have lasted all this time. And so the care that people give to them, that the county pays them to do, but these people go way above and beyond taking care of them. They don't just mow them. Right. They do the trees. They fix the stones. It's absolutely beautiful. And the other one is, and that's at the bottom of the story, is the one that Austin Johnson cares for. His dad always did. And then when Brian passed away, Austin took over the job, and he has other family members that help them. It's actually located, surrounded by cornfields. People have just been farming around it all these years, and the Johnson family cares for it because they farm right around there. The general public can only get to it by walking from the road. Mm-hmm. The Johnsons do, obviously since they farm, they'll take a tractor out there or a pickup or whatever. There's not many graves. It looks like that one from the research that I did. It looks like they're mostly all of one family. The patriarch was a Civil War veteran, and it's really unclear why it occurred, and then no one took care of it, right, or why it's not associated with the Arborville Church or something. It's this one's a little bit more mysterious, but he cares for it a lot. And what's so interesting, I was out there last spring with him, and what's so interesting is that even though it's so far off the road, and really they're out there farming and they never see anybody there, they still find flowers. Somebody is going out there and is putting flowers on those graves, and they don't know who they are and they don't see them. And the day I was out there were flowers on everything.
Sometimes it's great that it's kind of anonymous and you don't know who it is, but
it's
that's
special
pretty cool
because they always leave yellow flowers. It means something to someone. Mm-hmm. So anyway, that happened again this week. The commissioners approved
renewing the
care.
contracts for the maintenance. So which is interesting. I don't think a lot of people know that the county does, still they have that. It's a state statute, correct? To
is.
allot $1,000 right for yearly maintenance for these
and really,
cemeteries.
honestly, it should probably be more.
Sure. Yeah.
And I think they're paying them $900 each, and then this year they did give them an allowance that if they need to go buy some product to like fix a headstone or something, just because they're old, they can. So, but anyway, that's another neat thing. Sorry, a little too much cemetery today, but
I know,
but it's fascinating.
It is good stuff. Check out those little small cemeteries. They're awesome. Historic.
It is.
Head there and you kind of feel something, right?
You really do.
Yeah.
You really do.
Good stuff. Well, Melanie, thanks so much for joining us here today. Have a good rest of your day.
Yeah, you too.